Hey, what's up guys? This is Oakley and we're going to be doing a 3v3 battle, again mostly with the same opponents, but I'm going to be here as the Seleucids on the far left. In the center, Attila the Great is playing as Syracuse. Now he's not in the commentary, hopefully we'll have him join us in a later game, but he also has a YouTube channel, we'll link that below. And then Indy is going to be on the right with Bactria. He as well has a YouTube channel, but he is here in person, so we'll link that and this will probably be on his channel as well.
What's going on, guys?
Yeah, I'll let you introduce the opponents then.
Okay, so yeah, Duke Elios is going to be on Egypt over on their right flank. In the middle is going to be Sith Frozen playing Rome with a pre-Marian army that's actually going to be quite tanky and survivable, which kind of surprised me, but we'll talk about that later on. And then across from me is Jankadoodle. His army is mostly hidden, but he is going to be on Epirus.
Correct. And yeah, I guess my deployment is a little odd.
It is very odd.
I've been getting that flack from a lot of people online because I know a lot of people just are used to deploying in normal lines, pikes, skirmishers, cav in the back, whatever. I don't know, for some reason I've never really liked doing that, so I always have my guys piecemeal. And I had the Roman player, they're going to actually switch and he's going to face off against me. That's going to be Frozen, and he actually said he'd watched a couple of my videos, and you'll see how he's going to answer to my plays. But anyways, let's get this under the way. So,
Right, 3, 2, 1, press play. And let's get into it. So yeah, Epirus right now is completely hidden by the trees, and what I wanted to do was just push up on the right flank, kind of up near the red line with my cavalry, because Bactria, one good thing about them is that they have probably the best combination of cavalry in the game. You can bring the Bactrian Noble Horse, which are probably the most cost-effective and really strong melee cavalry in the game, and then the Cataphracts, and then of course the Bactrian Royal Cavalry. So they have a really good combination of cavalry, and I should be able to beat whatever Epirus throws at me. And then I'm just going to kind of move up to the edge of the trees and see what happens while we see if Epirus actually reveals his army deployment.
right, yeah, because one thing we were worried about was having elephants again, which were present in that last battle we did a commentary on. Didn't get too many kills, but when you're dealing with elephants, they're always a wild card. And yeah, I'm going to be moving up a little bit piecemeal on the left. I'm a little wary about what's going on, so I'm just positioning myself, and we're kind of waiting for the decisive blow. I think what we learned from the last battle is not to engage too quickly, so we're going to try and find a decisive point in the battle where we can take the advantage and land, the aggressive decisive blow. So I think in this battle we're going to take more of an offensive role than in the last one.
Yeah, it's kind of weird for me because as Bactria and with these 4 Persian light archers, which are ridiculously good archers, I'm kind of in a weird position because shooting into the trees, I'm not going to make very much impact, and again, I can't see of any Epirus's units right now. So I was kind of I wasn't really sure what to do, but pretty soon here, Epirus is actually going to pull out of the trees right now, and he's going to move his cavalry up to the red line as well, and there will be a cav fight there relatively soon, but we'll talk more about that when that actually occurs. At the moment, it looks like Achilles is just going to move his pike line up, and you wanted to make sure that you didn't get double teamed. We were kind of afraid of that, Egypt and Rome just running at Oakley and taking him off the field, so Attila's going to kind of preempt that and make sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, like I had said a little bit before, is Frozen, who's playing as Rome, he told me after this, he watched videos of mine, so I guess what he was figuring this battle, he wanted to face me, so I think he called out a shift, or an exchange, so he's going to be switching positions with Egypt, and we're like, oh, what the hell's going on here? We were worried they're going to double team me and push forward, so that's why I'm a really spread out position. And then we're going to have Attila push in the center with his archers to take advantage of some of this disruption. But at the same time, we're also calling out what's going on the right, which is a huge development in terms of cav.
There's going to be a big cav fight here, a decisive cav fight is kind of going to dictate the pace, at least of my fight with Epirus. And this was very interesting, and one thing that I don't like about this patch at all, and you'll see as we go into melee combat, I'm going to get charges on each one of these units. The Mercenary Italian Cav, the Hellenic Royal Cavalry, and the Thessalian Cav. Now, I was arguing with Jankadoodle about whether he actually countercharged with his Hellenic Royal Cavalry. I guess we'll figure out in a couple of seconds, but he's not going to countercharge with the Thessalians at all. And then I'm going to charge in with the Cataphracts, and let's see if he actually countercharges with the Hellenic Royal Cavalry.
Yeah, it looks like they're just sitting there, at least the
they're
one
just
unit.
Sitting there for a second, but the Cataphracts are getting close now. But I'll talk about what I don't like about this cav fight in a second. We'll see if he actually... Okay, he did charge... Okay, yeah, he countercharged, but there was no momentum, so if that actually counts as a full charge, that's kind of bullcrap. But anyway, he did actually click an attack order. What I don't like about the new patch is the fact that melee engagements last so long, and in some ways it's a really good thing. In this case, it's going to be bad, because he got terrible charges off with all of his cavalry, but I'm not going to decisively crush his cavalry very quickly. And that's going to give him time to send in a bunch of spears and stuff that on previous patches would have never made it in time. If this was patch 14 or patch 13, his cavalry would have been dead right off the bat because they didn't charge. They would have lost all their men like right off the bat. Instead, I got clean charges off on his Thessalian cavalry. They're only at half strength like a minute after I engaged. And this Hellenic Royal cavalry's only lost 15 men. So I'm not going to be able to break through and quickly take his cavalry off the field, which is really annoying, and it's going to give his Thoreo spears time to get into melee and cut down some of my cataphracts, which sucks.
Yeah, it's a problem because we're at the red line, so Indy's having a hard time to sweep around. He fixed them, got some good kills, and now he's going to have to deliver the coup de grace where he's coming in from the back. But like he said, there's already some spears in the mix, dealing some pretty good kills so far. Or actually just 2, I shouldn't say that preemptively. But
they will, though.
Yeah, they will.
Yeah. They're going to be a problem. So yeah, it just sucks because like I took a really good cav fight, I outplayed him in the cav fight, and he's still going to have plenty of time to send in a bunch of spears to hurt me. So that was frustrating.
And if we want to look back in the center as things have developed, Egypt and Rome have successfully switched positions, and Frozen's going to be pushing up with a pretty big detachment. He's going to be forcing me back. My cavalry's scared away, and then in the center we're going to decide to accept this fight, push the advantage, and our opponents are going to fall back to the forest, so that's not a place we want to be, especially with the Epirotes right here in this forest getting some shots up against us.
Yeah, so actually he did manage to get a Tarentine cavalry around the flank and try to get into my Persian light archers, but that's really not going to be an issue because we have pikes and hoplites and stuff, and that'll quickly get rid of the Epirote Tarentine cav. And then I'm going to get some help from the mercenary companion cav of my buddy Attila the Great from Syracuse. That's really going to help me. I keep trying to pull out of these damn spears and mercenary Italian swordsmen, and I was legitimately screaming in Skype. I was like, I'm pulling out. How many times do I have to tell them to pull out? And they keep going in. So I've been hearing from some people that cavalry isn't as sticky as they were on previous patches, that they won't get pulled in. That's not true at all. You have to give lots of movement orders to get them out of melee fights. So like 1 or 2 of my guys in the entire unit was getting stuck, and it kept the entire unit in the fight. So that was
I see what you're talking about. The engagement up in the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now Egypt's going to commit some of his Egyptian cavalry and also send a Ptolemaic cav, and we're going to notice that, and the Attila's going to send his Syracusan companion cav in there. That's actually not going to be a great fight for them because they don't have a bonus versus cavalry, and the Ptolemaic cav got a full trample charge off. But again, I'm going to pull my cataphract unit out and a Bactrian Rural cavalry, and then charge them straight into this Ptolemaic cav, which, again, the fight will take a while, but I'm going to get a clean trample charge off, so I should also be able to clean up that melee engagement as well.
Yeah, so this is going to be escalating quickly, more and more hoplites being fed, but we're slowly winning this. It's just not at the pace we'd want it to be. And you can see us committing more guys, more mercenary companion cav coming over. Let's go ahead and switch over to the other side where I'm being pressed back in the center. So I have managed to get 2 median cavalry units into the back of our enemy formation. That's going to be very crucial. I'm going to let them sit there just to threaten the back of the Romans. That'll be very important later. Right on the left, that's contradictory. Right over here on the left, I have Camel Spearmen and Hellenic Cavalry shooting this gap, and I have my opponent fixed up in 2 positions. On the right with Thorax Swordsmen, and then on the left against the Rheo Spears, I'm going to get 1 charge with the Hellenic Cav, and my Camels are going to nope on right out of there. They're a little scared of that, but those Hellenic guys are going to land a decisive strike on the Principes and then pull out of there. So I'm kind of wary of Rome, and they're going to be landing an all-out attack in the center with the backup of the Ptolemaic Cav. So you can see them here trampling over my guys. They're going to get back up, but again, they're very good at landing these precision strikes on our archers decisively all at once. So there we go, they clean up my archers. My archers had only gotten 16 kills, one of them is already broken, another one is now routing, so they were very good at landing those strikes. However, it does sort of backfire in the sense that we're going to get some counter charges. Again, Attila is very good at responding to this, and he's going to get a counter charge on that. So I think it was too much of a greedy move on our opponent's part, but they are pressing the advantage in the center, and the Roman forces are moving up. You can see how I'm not committing too many guys to this battle, but Frozen is just gobbling up my guys 1 piece at a time, so I know I won't be able to beat Rome, and I gotta wait for the rest of the battle to develop.
Yeah, and over here on my side, the melee engagement has started with Epirus, And I have a bunch of help from Attila. He sent some mercenary veteran hoplites and some other units as well with the companion cav. So we are engaged here. It's in the woods, so my archers are not quite as effective as I'd like them to be, but they're still getting some decent shots off on the Royal Peltast, and I've finally broken the cavalry up there, and given the fact that I got those free charges off, it just took way too long, but I'm going to be able to get my Hellenic Cataphracts into melee combat, and as soon as I do that, Epirus is going to be pretty much screwed because trample charge into the back of Royal Peltast, they are completely dead after that charge, and again, I'm going to get another charge directly into this Royal Peltast that's at half strength. They're going to try to brace, and you're going to see he actually hits shield wall, but it's not going to matter. I'm just going to charge right through it. Ridiculously powerful charge. I don't know how many, we'll see how many I killed in a couple seconds, but keep them in melee combat. They were at 75. I took, yeah, about 40 men off that charge, and they were braced. So they're dead, and Epirus is pretty much, there's no resistance left from him. So I noticed that. I'm like, okay, well, engagement over with Egypt and Rome is not going super well for Oakley, so got to get my guys over there as soon as I possibly can.
Yeah, and my cavalry who were hanging out in the back now pushed through. They basically came in, slaughtered some of the rear Roman guys, and now they're just causing chaos in this mix, countercharging the back of exposed pikes, disengaging, and they're just trying to hit all these blobs where I'm engaged piecemeal with the Romans. You can see almost everywhere they're sandwiched between some unit and now incoming cavalry. But again, that's just a piecemeal approach. Frozen found a really good way to oppose my strategy of not having a big front, which is just to send piecemeal units at me and let them just, use them to maximum effect and just keep the fire on from the back. And so I'm kind of getting picked apart one at a time, so I'm really going to need help, which is what you're starting to see arrive from the east.
Yeah, and it's going to take me a while because all my cavalry is exhausted. As you guys know, they were starting the fight at the beginning. They were the first troops to get into melee combat, so being exhausted, my cavalry is going to take a very long time to get over there, and then of course my pikes will as well, because they're pikes, they're infantry, they're going to take a long time to run this far. So at the moment it's just going to be Attila and Oakley in the melee engagement, and actually the Egyptian player Duke Eligos is doing a very good job of shooting your Median cavalry and hurting a lot of your cav, because if he takes the mobility off the field, it becomes very easy for them. As long as you keep your Median and your cataphracts alive, then that kind of force charging in from the rear could cause a ton of damage and maybe cause a mass rout. But if he's able to get that cavalry off the field, things change. And you don't have very much melee infantry left at all at this point.
Yeah, I have some camels charging right at the opponent. Oh my god.
Yeah, they got shredded. I didn't quite catch it, but I'm seeing them now, and they have tiny armor, so auxiliary Syrian archers are gonna kill them with a volley, and also camels aren't gonna beat them in melee combat anyway. So, but you had to commit them. Like if you see them charging to archers, like you might as well try to take them off the field.
Yeah, and my Hellenic Cataphracts are now going to make their getaway. I'm trying to save them to the last moment. I'd still have some median cav who are going to go straight for this blob right here. I'm pushing in the remainder of my units. I'm just trying to sequester the Romans, force them back, and then charge these blobs where I've been able to force the Romans to, again, get pinned on me. I'm going to just try and secure this flank. However, my own Hellenic Cataphracts are tired. You'll see me as I try and push across the rear of this force. I didn't actually know this, but the Syrians are going to turn around. And I thought they were facing the front. It sort of made the most sense to me, but they're going to concentrate all their fire on actually my Hellenic Cataphracts, and those guys are going to be going down super quick.
Yeah, and Duke Eligos really did do a good job with his archers of focusing down the cavalry, because he realized that if we weren't getting hammer and anvils off, it'd be a much harder fight, because that's how you beat Rome. You tie them down with maybe some cheap units or any units that can actually go toe-to-toe with them in melee, and then you hit them from the rear with cataphracts. But if he's able to take those cataphracts off the field, things suddenly get way harder. And actually, Rome was doing that as well, because he has some of the auxiliary Syrian archers. So I'm finally starting to get close to the fight, and actually a bunch of my archers finally got here. So I'm going to shoot into the blob of Romans right here, and I'm going to be able to do a lot of damage. The problem is there are a lot of units, and they're all pretty heavily armored, so while I can help him in this melee fight a lot, he still has more than enough to beat the melee units that are here at the moment.
Yeah, I just have Levy Pikemen in the mix who are, they already have 75 kills against Romans. That's good, but they're going to crack pretty soon. And my other unit, Thorax Swordsman, who got 57 kills, they're going to be breaking pretty soon. Thank goodness we have Attila, who's here basically to supply the shock troops to absorb the impact in the front. And then, yeah, Bactria is coming in here, like Indy said, with the archers to get some more shots. And you can see my cataphracts tried to land a sneaky attack in the back, but they paid for it. Those archers diverted all their attention just to knock me out, and now they're re-engaging. Decent move, because if they didn't, I would have charged and probably killed them. But I think those archers would have been better served counteracting everything we're doing, pushing the front. And he could have just left one pike to fend off my really tired cataphracts.
Yeah. The problem right now for us is these Cretan archers. They haven't really made their presence felt felt a lot yet, because they only have like 50 kills or so. But I remember being very annoyed because I kept trying to commit my half-strength cavalry units into the fights, and then he would just focus fire with his archers. So it was kind of scary. And actually, I'm looking at your Royal Peltas now. They're legitimately completely surrounded, and your general's probably already dead at this point.
Yeah, he was still hanging in there. So.
Oh, actually, he is alive. I see him. Nice.
Yeah, he was pretty good. I used him at the last minute to pop some abilities. I gave my guy second wind, so that's why he's not exhausted. So actually, the strategist general, whatever it's called, that's actually pretty good instead of the fear general. If you can get your guys back up to full strength, you'll see here. That's why I'm able to hold out for so long. I'm only just now going to start cracking, but he got a lot of kills because I could do battle rhythm, which gives you better stats. And then once you're tired, you just follow that up with a second wind.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, your Royal Peltas lasted a long time there. They got like 250 kills or so, which is really nice. And finally, my cavalry's here. I actually shifted them over from this side and brought them around because I thought that killing the Romans would be a more important thing. The problem is, again, they're exhausted, so they're running about as fast as infantry units do. So everything they do now just takes a long, long time. I'm going to commit my pike units in the middle here, behind the mercenary veteran hoplites of Attila. And we're just going to try to do as much damage as we can to these Roman... The biggest thing right now is tying all of these Roman infantry units down. And so that's exactly what we're going to try to do. Get the Thorax pikeman up here. He's going to engage from the front, which he didn't have to do. That's a big mistake, but now my cataphracts and Bactrian Royal Cavalry are going to try to get rear charges off. And now you can see Duke Eligos focusing them down with his archers. And that was annoying for me, because I was like, really want to get this trample charge off, and I do. I do a lot of damage, but I'm not going to have much cavalry after this at all.
Yeah, and I can see you're already positioning your archers for vengeance. I see you have his archers targeted.
Yeah.
And we're going to be charging from the other side with a pretty healthy cavalry unit. So we were all in team chat calling these guys out, like, I want their heads. So this is going to be their last couple moments.
Yeah, I think his general's bodyguard... No, I'm not sure. His general might be alive. I can't really tell, actually, but the general's unit is still alive, but I think his general's actually dead at this point. But we are finally getting the mercenary companion cav and Hippeus lancers into a threatening position in the back, and they're going to do something that I used to love on Shogun 2, is just plopping some Yari Yashigaru, some cheap spears in the back of your line just to ward off enemy cavalry, and instead of Yari Yashigaru, it's Egyptian pikemen this time, so that cavalry can't actually get committed yet, and this is a really close melee engagement. This could still go either way, for sure.
Yeah, so we just know the killing power of these Roman forces, but now we finally get some more guys, and it looks like, I think, yeah, you're getting one of your Hellenic cataphracts through the pikes. You don't care.
And I finally get to those archers that were pissing me off this entire engagement. Finally get in there and punish them some. And going to cause some chain routing a little bit right there. And then my pikemen also broke through, and we're going to engage the Principes right here, who have 200 kills, but things are starting to look really good for us. The balance bar is shifting in our favor, and we have a complete surround off on them, so that's really good from our perspective.
Yeah, there's only a couple clusters, and now finally Epirus gets back into the fight. These are actually leftover troops who were engaged in that initial cavalry charge. Indy, you had beat the cav, and you're like, fuck this, I'm not staying for the hoplites. So you actually disengaged and just ran away from them. So they actually got, if you look at their kills, well, that one's 24, the other one's 64. So they were starting to rake up the kills against your cavalry. So it's a good idea to boogie on out of there.
Yeah. I'm not actually sure if any of his hoplites ever made it into my cavalry. I know the Thoreo spears did, and those were what were killing my cav at the beginning. But yeah, his hoplites were in the melee engagement, and I was like, I mean, my pikes don't need to stay here for this. Like, these hoplites aren't going to make an impact on this battle because they take so long to get away. So I think Janka might have been a little bit slow in running them over here, because theoretically my pikes weren't very far ahead of them, so he should have been able to keep them in step with my pikes and get them engaged earlier. But it doesn't really matter. He's going to be late to the party, and now we just have to clean up a little bit more Egyptian pikemen, which Thorax pikemen should shred in melee, and then the companion cav coming in from the rear should just cause a mass rout. And really, we only have a couple units left to deal with at this point.
Yeah, and I'm over here with running my last unit, trying to get kills because I knew I was going to be the least MVP. So I'm like, all right, I gotta get some more kills, gotta get some more kills, just to even the scoreboard. But you guys have, I mean, a pile of corpses you're gonna rack up over here.
Yeah, so at the moment, it looks like just Rome and that one hoplite are the only things that are left, and we can't lose the battle at this point. There's just no way. So it's just going to be cleaning up. I do think these hoplites are pretty crazy. I mean, they're just... This patch has been interesting because it made hoplites crazy strong right at the beginning of the beta patch, and then there was a hot fix to make them a little bit less effective and swords a little bit more effective, but they still last for a very long time, and the only reason they routed right there was because the balance bar shifted far enough in our favor that it just causes an automatic rout. But if that wasn't a thing in the game, those hoplites probably could have lasted for another 3 or 4 minutes, which is crazy. But yeah, looking at the stats, it was, I mean, kills were pretty even on our side. On the other side, there were some problems for their team.
Yeah.
Frozen Man had legitimately more than twice as many kills as Duke Eligos and Jankadoodle had combined.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy considering he mostly brought no avocado here. He just brought, like Indy said, a Primarian Force, 5 Hastati, 5 Principes, and 4 Triari. Back that up with Balerix, who got 222 kills.
That's a lot.
Syrian
That's a lot,
archers.
boys and girls.
Yeah, so he did a good job. I think Duke Elias relied too much on the native Egyptians, who were pretty crappy. His cav did okay.
Yeah, his whole army was made up of native Egyptians, which is not ideal. I'll just say that right now. It's not ideal. Yeah, the Egyptian pikemen and the Egyptian infantry are both not very good. Now, Egyptian pikemen are more cost effective and better because they can actually, like their pikes, if you engage them from the front with sword units or something, then they'll actually do damage. But we all had pikes, or at least me and Attila did, so those Egyptian pikemen made absolutely no impact on the battle whatsoever.
Yeah, and then Jankadoodle, his cav did okay. You can see they mostly, because they didn't get those chargers off, just suffered as a result.
Yeah.
His Thoreau Spears came back, cleaned up a couple of that, kill discrepancy. For the most part, I think he just got thrashed when you guys won that flank and just crashed in on his center.
Yeah, his Royal Peltas didn't have any chance to make an impact on the battle because before he actually could engage them, I won the cav fight, and then just the cataphracts crashed in, and one Hellenic cataphract destroyed one Peltast, and the other one destroyed the other. So yeah, they didn't make much of an impact on the battle. Neither did his cav. In fact, I'd say that's pretty bad from his cav. But I lost more cavalry than I should have. If it was another patch, I would have destroyed it in seconds and been able to just wrap in and completely destroy him. But I wasn't able to do that because of the patch. But whatever, I'm not gonna cry about it. I won, so I feel good.
Yeah, Attila getting some solid kills. Companions 336. His cav did really well. I think they're mostly in a support role for your guys. So he did good. He started off where he could charge cav into the back of other cav, got those kills, and then once their cav was neutralized, he went to town on various units. So a good use of that. His front line held up well, and yeah, your Persian light archers actually did work.
They did a pretty decent amount. Yeah, they were all, voice crack. Yeah, we had 3 of them almost got 100 kills, and then one of them, I don't know what happened, but they were bad. My cavalry was the biggest thing, no question. I mean, if you're Bactria, your cavalry is how you're generally going to win most of your fights. And 253 kills on one cataphract, 279 on the other. So that's what I like to see out of my cavalry, and overall, I thought it was an interesting battle. It lasted for a very long time, and we managed to reinforce better than our opponents and work together a little bit better. So, good battle. Do you have any last thoughts on anything?
No, we evened that up, and we do have one more battle. I'm not sure if we're going to throw that up between you and I. Hopefully we'll be able to get Attila the Great to commentate that, but that'll be sort of the best of 3 we ended up doing.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun, and I want to thank everybody for playing. And Rome 2 Patch 15, the actual DLC Emperor Edition is coming out on Tuesday, so I'm very excited for that, and looking forward to Rome 2 in the future.
Yep. See you guys.
All right, peace out, guys.